Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. Today is day 2. My name is Anna McNaught, and I am joined with Jesús Ramirez, and we are going to do some photoshopping today. I'm so excited for both of us to be here bouncing back and forth on some creative ideas. So welcome everyone in the chat. We see some familiar names. Hello, Bruce and Sean and Susan, Fabio. Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Jesús, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I am doing fantastic. So I was telling you earlier, I feel like singing. I just saw Hamilton, so yes. I might just sing today. I don't know.
I think you should. I think we should do the whole thing as a musical.
Oh, a musical Photoshop. That'd be awesome. Yes. All right, you start.
Yeah, what does everyone think of that? Should we make this a musical today?
That would be good.
Oh man, I don't know if I could handle myself. I think I'd have to just go leave the building.
I think everyone would leave the building if I start singing.
Yeah, me too. It's not good. I only sing in the shower.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Where are you all tuning in from? I am in New Jersey in my new house. Jesús, where are you?
I am in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area in San Ramon, California.
Ooh, so nice. Love it there.
It's a beautiful, beautiful area. Yeah, let us know where you're watching from. Also, we kind of didn't mention yesterday, but if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you tune in on behance.net so that we can see your comments. We cannot see the comments on YouTube. So head over to behance.net/live so that you can interact with Anna and myself.
Yes, join us in the chat. And today we're going to actually be doing a little bit of interactive work on a few of our pieces. So if you're in the chat, you can tell us what we should add, and we're going to have some fun surprises. So stay tuned. And I think right now we are going to jump over to your iPad.
Yeah, over to my iPad. And as we were talking, I kind of just saw the chat and I see we have Jacob Phillips from San Jose, California, just down the street from me. So yes, Photoshop for the iPad. Let us know in the chat if you're using it, if you like it. There was a recent update, Anna, that I just wanted to let everyone know about. This new feature in the iPad. Is actually something that's been in Photoshop for a while, but it's now in the iPad. Yesterday, we talked about replacing skies in Photoshop to enhance the look of your image. But sometimes you may have skies that you like, but there may be distractions like power lines or other things in your photo that you may want to remove. Now, on the latest release of Photoshop for the iPad, we have the spot healing brush tool, just like Photoshop. It's here in the toolbar. You can enable it by tapping on it. And on the right-hand side, you have the little plus icon that allows you to create a new layer. So I can create a new layer. And with the tool selected, you can see this little 3-dot icon. You can tap on that little 3-dot icon and make sure that sample all layers is enabled so that you can work non-destructively. I'm going to paint on this blank layer that I created, and I'm going to generate pixels to hide the power lines. And it's very easy to do. All you have to do is simply just paint away the power lines like so. I'm using my Apple Pencil, or I could also use my finger. So really, really cool, as you can see. And I'm just removing these power lines, and I'm going fairly quickly here, but you get the idea. So this is one of the new features inside of Photoshop for the iPad. And of course, it's been available in the regular version of Photoshop. Another cool thing about using Photoshop on the iPad is that, you know, this photo was actually taken, I shot this photo in, not Valencia, in Sevilla. Oh, no, I shot it in Valencia or Sevilla, I forget. In Spain, we'll leave it at that. Either or, Sevilla or Valencia. Let me know in the chat if you recognize it. I want to say Valencia now. But anyway, the point is that you can start working on, you know, your iPad, and when you want to go over to your desktop, you can do that by using a cloud document. So everything that I'm doing on the iPad now is being transferred over to my cloud document, my Photoshop cloud document, and I could open up this file from my desktop. So you can start mobile and then continue on desktop if you want. So yeah, this is the new feature in Photoshop for the iPad. Like I said before, this is a non-destructive method. Just like in regular Photoshop, I can disable my layer, the power lines come back. And yeah, it's a brand new feature. So I highly recommend that you update your iPad if you haven't already, so that you can have access to this new feature in Photoshop for the iPad.
It's so awesome. It's like such a game changer to be able to quickly edit your photos like that when you're on the go and, you know, transfer it right over to your desktop. I see some people saying they're trying to get used to using Photoshop on the iPad. We definitely feel you on that. We're trying to as well, but I think, you know, practice makes perfect.
Definitely. Yeah. So I think this is it for Photoshop for the iPad. Again, feel free to download it and try the new features. And I think we're going to move on to working on some photo compositing and some surreal photo compositing, that is.
Yes. Yeah. So yesterday we did a little bit with sky replacement and doing a bit more realism. And today we're going to be doing a little bit of surrealism. If you know my work, that's kind of my specialty and one of my favorite things to do. So let's switch over to my screen and we'll get started.
Hey, Anna, let's pretend like I don't know your work. Where can I find it?
Ah, good point. You can find me on Instagram and my username is Anna McNaught. Mm-hmm. Just add the Y on there and you'll find me.
Nice.
Yeah. Or you can also find my travel work at Leave the Map.
Leave the Map. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So this is a photo that we took in Great Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado. It's a super cool place. You can go sandboarding down these dunes and it's absolutely beautiful at magic hour. And we have a lot of photos from yesterday too that we were working on that I just want to show you all real quick. Let's go into my downloads here. And so we're going to be working on this image that I brought up today, but if there's anything else that you all see in the chat that maybe we could play with at the end, if there's some extra time, let us know. Just let us describe what the image is in the chat. We did this a little bit yesterday and we can play around with those too. So these are just some of my favorite photos from our travels that I pulled from one of our files, some Glacier National Park pictures, some different beach pictures, the Tetons, all sorts of things in here that we can play with. So if you see anything, we did this during the last few minutes of the stream yesterday. That was super fun. Yeah, let us know.
Definitely let us know in the chat. People are talking about La Liga Spanish First Division soccer because I mentioned those two cities which have professional soccer teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the whole Lionel Messi situation? Let us know in the chat.
I don't even know what that is.
Somebody let Anna know what that is in the chat.
All right. So if you remember yesterday, we did a little bit of sky replacement, and I'm just going to do a quick recap of that for those of you that missed it. It's super simple, and it's a great, easy way to change your images really quickly. So I'm going to duplicate this background layer, Command J, and then I'm going to come up and go to Edit Sky Replacement. And let me just bring this over here. Setting up my workspace as we go. I think I'll keep it there. So, oh, there we go. Okay, I didn't want to show you guys that yet, but you got to see the cool northern lights. So we could easily click through these skies that Photoshop provides and just enhance what we have going on, and lots of different options as we showed you yesterday. I really like the rainbow look. I think that kind of gives a super cool moody vibe. And then we have a bunch of different sunsets. And then you can also add in your own. You can see I've added some crazy surreal skies in here, which we're going to be working with today. And I just want to show you all one thing we showed you yesterday. I was able to update my Photoshop finally. So if you go into this gear icon and you click Get More Skies, this will bring up Adobe creative cloud, and then we can pick out a perfect sky. So Jesus demonstrated this yesterday of finding a few different storm clouds. And if it's going to load for me, maybe there we go. Takes a little bit of time.
There we go.
And there we go. You have all these different sunsets and spectacular skies, night skies, blue skies, storms, everything in here that you can download for free, and then credits to the photographer. Hey, I know Ryan. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah, and Russell Brown there on the right.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, this is just a really great feature, but you can also add in any of your own photos just by going here and clicking import skies from images. So I did that with some Adobe stock that I have, and also a few of my own photography pieces.
Also, I counted yesterday after the stream, and I think there's just over 100 skies in total that you can download.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so then one thing that we did yesterday that I'm actually going to do today, I'm not going to use sky replacement in this image because I kind of want to do this all by hand in the old school way and show you all exactly what my workflow would be. So what I would do here in this one, because we have a nice contrast between the background and the sky, is I'm going to do the channels layer masking. So you're looking for the layer that has the most contrast. Again, this is just a recap of yesterday, so I won't take too much time on this. We're just going to go into levels and make this nice and black and white so that we're building out our layer mask. Then I'm going to go in with the burn tool, make this all black in here, and you can paint in with a black brush, bring my flow up.
So shout outs to Foster, who's in the chat. Foster Brereton, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Foster is the one of the people who works for Adobe in Photoshop, and he was the person who coded the banana tool into Photoshop. And he actually told me about a hidden Easter egg on the iPad that I wanted to show you guys, but I don't have a keyboard that I could attach to my iPad, so I couldn't show it to you. So maybe somebody can discover it. I'll give clues. You have to hold down all the modifier keys and hit F when you're doing something with selections. So let's see if anybody can figure it out. So that's my clue for the hidden Easter egg on the iPad. Maybe Foster can give more clues if he wants to in the chat.
I know, I'm really curious about this now.
Yeah, I still like the banana tool the best though.
Me too. And he's the one who wrote it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna grab one of these stocks that I have in my downloads, and we can kind of play around with it and possibly drop in some different skies if you guys think I don't want to do that, if you all think that something would be better. All right, so we're getting a lot of mountain blowout here, but we're gonna actually get rid of those background mountains because they're kind of distracting, and we really wanna focus on this sand dune here. So you can come in with different tools, and you could do the pen tool or brush this out. Normally what I would do, everyone was making fun of me yesterday because I use a trackpad on my laptop, but normally what I would do is just paint this out. And I know that's kind of a waste of time, but I feel like it allows me to get like some much more kind of natural, like sand duney edges.
Cool.
And I'm just going to do this quickly. We could really get in there and touch this up a bit better. But for now, we'll just brush it out. Just going along, taking our time. Now's the perfect time to sing.
Yeah, please start.
No, you start.
That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate the invite, but no, thank you. I'm telling you, I want to keep people tuned in. I don't want people to tune away.
Yeah. You're the one, though, who said you have music in your head playing. So.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I have musical talents. Oh, that's right. Sean in the chat is saying founder and member of the Adobe Banana Crew. That's what people were calling the crew that was following along with me during my Adobe Photoshop daily creative challenges. And Sean came up with that name because every day I would tell people to add their banana to their toolbar, and Sean gave us that name, the ABCs, Adobe Banana Crew. And
I love that.
I guess our, like God, if you will, the guy that created everything is in the chat, Foster. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Viola says, I only sing in the shower. Let us know what songs you guys sing in the shower. What do you sing, Anna, when nobody's listening?
It's usually something super girly. I actually, everyone's gonna make fun of me. I probably shouldn't even say this, but one of my favorite people to sing is Avril Lavigne.
Really?
And like not her radio stuff, like her super kind of like older stuff that was like less discovered on her old CDs. I remember walking around with my Walkman, listening to that and singing at the top of my lungs. Back in the high school days.
Nice.
Okay. So I just did a quick cutout of that using the brush tool, lots of different ways. As I said, pen tool probably would have been more efficient, but I don't like to use the pen tool. So, you got to use what you like.
Mm-hmm.
You guys may have seen something very similar to this on my Instagram that I just shared not too long ago. And actually it was the other day. And so I'm kind of like recreating something similar to that and playing around with this. And this is exactly what you could do with the sky replacement tool, but it's all kind of like depending on how you want to work.
Nice. Cody Bear likes Avril Lavigne as well.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm not as embarrassed anymore. Okay, so I have this silhouette image of myself from California. I think I'm going to use this, but we'll see how it works. Sometimes it doesn't always work as well as we imagine. And I'm just going to copy this because that's all I really need right there. I don't need the whole thing. So I'm going to copy and paste it over here, move it on top. And you know what I'm going to do first is save this, because that is something I always forget to do.
Yeah, so do I. But you know what? It took a couple times of me losing work for me to develop this muscle memory of just hitting save, with the keyboard shortcut.
Yep.
So I do that now. I haven't lost work in a while, but it took a couple times of me losing a lot of work for me to develop that habit.
Exactly. Me too. I always forget. And I end up having like so many different tabs open in Photoshop, and I'll be like working on different pieces, and then Photoshop will just totally crash and I'll lose every little like beginning of an idea that I had, and always a good time. Okay, so I'm going to also use channels on here to cut this out, but you could also, let's do something different. So we could just select it with a quick selection. Just like that, should grab it pretty well. Maybe not. Or we can do select subject. Let's try to do that. Where is select subject? Oh, select subject. Who else forgets where everything is in Photoshop? I spend half my time looking for things, even though I've been using it since I was like 10 years old.
Oh, man.
All right, so that did a really good job. That's perfect. Now we don't have to use channels, but we always can if we want, because as I said yesterday and today, it's a great way to cut anything out with a lot of contrast. Let's just add our layer mask. That's looking pretty good. And obviously I'm not going to be that big. That looks pretty insane. Let's make it nice and small.
Ahmed is asking, how do you come up with these beautiful ideas for designs?
It all kind of just depends on like my mood and inspiration that I see on like Pinterest or other artists. This one actually yesterday while we were on the stream and I was clicking through my photos while you were working, Jesus, I found this image and immediately like the idea popped into my head, and I was like, I'm gonna do something with this for day 2 and I'm gonna play around with it. And this is kind of, like I said, based on something that I made a few weeks ago. So I kind of already had like a similar concept, but most times it's all based on like a feeling or something similar that I've seen.
Yeah. Leah's responding to your comment about not knowing where things are, and she wrote, I know where things are until doing it in front of people, then everything
Yes.
else.
Yep, that's so true. So true. Also, hi Leah, how's it going? Yeah, I feel like it's a nervous thing. You end up being like, oh no, what am I looking for? Everyone's watching me click through and not know what I'm doing here.
One time I was at a conference with a friend who shall remain nameless. And this was his first Photoshop presentation. And he kept saying like, oh yeah, I don't really need to prepare. Like I use Photoshop every day, for like the last whatever number of years. And I was like, it's not the same. When you got people watching you, you don't have time to fumble around trying to find a tool.
Yeah.
And then after his first presentation, it was like, yeah, you're right. It's completely different when people are watching.
Yeah, it's so true. I'm just touching up my messy layer mask. And let's see. I just realized we were going to show the new neural filters too.
Ooh.
Let's see if we can play with that. I haven't honestly played with this too much, so let's see what we can do. Have you played with this?
Yeah, I've played around with a lot of these guys. I really think the colorized one is really cool for black and white images. The smart portrait is pretty cool as well. Skin smoothing I've used. So yeah, I've used a few of these guys. Oh, you need to download the newer versions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go back to that. I'll download some things.
Yeah, maybe when I'm working, you can download them and then come back and show them if you want.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Okay.
Let us know in the chat which new neural filter you like using. If there's any of those filters that you found very useful, and let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the skin smoothing and the colorize are the ones that I probably use the most.
Yeah, I feel like those would be really helpful. Okay, so I just added some curves on here. We're going to start to play around with this and kind of get some color correction happening. And let's clip that. I remember when I first learned about clipping to the layer below, and I was like, oh my God, everything has changed.
Yeah.
I remember I used to like try to cut things out and like place them on top of the layer below. And this was like many years ago. And it's so funny to think about that now.
I remember the tool that really got me amazed with Photoshop was layer styles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to draw a lot of comic book characters. Then I started scanning them and painting over my drawings with Photoshop, and then I started using layer styles to add textures and glows and things, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love layer styles.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. I remember learning some of the layer styles, I guess when I was I'm trying to think, like 7th grade, and we learned how to like make text like have certain effects and stuff, and it was so awesome. And that was like one of the things that first got me into graphic design. Right, so I just added a hue and saturation color. I'm gonna kind of experiment here with possibly doing a little bit to make like the sand dunes stay their natural color, but keep the grass in kind of like a blue tone. I don't know how it will look, but we're gonna just play around here. As we said yesterday, it's the key to learning, the key to discovering new styles. It's so important for the creative process.
Definitely. Cody Bear has a very good question. What was a tool that was a game changer for you? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know.
Thanks for asking, Cody Bear. Rick Adams said, I have tried the JPEG artifact removal to remove noise. I use it on a second layer in blend mode to blend in the neural filter. Good idea.
Yeah. All right. So I'm pretty much just kind of painting in my layer mask here. Like I said, playing around with some things, starting to create this kind of like glowing look in the sand dunes. And we might actually want to move this to like a shadowed area. I don't know, we're gonna plan as we go.
Yeah, so people are saying masking, layer styles, adjustment layers, masking. Yeah, so it seems like masking is the one that people really like.
Yeah, I mean, masking is incredible. Like, who used to, maybe you still do, it's fine if you do, erase everything instead of instead of layer masking? Raise your hand, because that was me.
And then you would flatten everything at the end.
Yep, exactly. Okay, I moved myself back. I actually like that better, but we might need to do some blending here.
Oh wait, that's you? That little tiny character?
Yeah, little tiny person is me. Yeah, it's
that's
from
awesome.
this photo that we took. I think it was at Laguna Beach.
Oh, nice. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah. Right. So what else should we do with this? It's kind of a simple composition, but maybe we can come over into Adobe stock and kind of look for some other things that might work well with this image. And as we showed you all yesterday, you can click over here and go to free, and then we can look up different things that might work in this picture. So you can see I was looking up like night sky. Yesterday we added a flare into our piece, so we could do that again, because that might be kind of cool to amplify what we have.
Yeah. Carol's telling us about a book that she really enjoyed, Photoshop 7, One Click Wow. Who wrote that book? It sounds familiar. Jack Davis, maybe? I'm not really.
What is it? One Click Wow?
Yeah, Photoshop 7, One Click Wow. It might have been Jack Davis, but I'm not really sure. So let us know in the chat who wrote it. My very first Photoshop book that I bought was also the very first book that I bought through Amazon. And that was a book by my good friend, Bert Monroy, who in my opinion is probably the greatest digital artist of all time. He was Photoshop user number 8, I believe.
Wow.
And he also wrote the very first book on Photoshop, like in 1990 or something like that. So he's pretty good. Carol says yes, Jack Davis. Yeah, Jack used to do a lot of those wow books back in the day. I actually started with Photoshop 7. That was my first version. Let us know in the chat where you started. How about you, Anna? Which one was your first version of Photoshop?
I'm trying to remember. I know I was working on CS3, I think.
Nice.
But like when I was super young. So
see, like I'm jealous of you and other young people, because I didn't start using Photoshop till I was about 19, 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Ooh,
that light.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, that's really fun. That definitely adds something. And then I'm wondering, should we put, now I feel like this is a little too bright. So let's just lower, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna lower the opacity on my little silhouette, kind of get it to blend in a little bit. And then let's just move this. So to get this look, all I did was I changed the blending mode to screen. Some of you may know this already, but that's kind of your best friend when it comes to anything on a black background that you want to have show through.
Foster started with Photoshop 3, the first version that included layers. Isn't that crazy? There was no layers before that.
Wow. Yeah, I can't believe that. So what was, I would love to know, like, what was before then? What did it look like if there is no layers?
You just did everything in one layer.
Well, yeah, what is the world with no layers?
Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
So I also downloaded a preview here. This is from Adobe Stock Premium and not from the free stuff.
Mhm.
But I kind of wanted to play around here with what it would look like to have like a path headed to the mountains or something. And if we like that, then we can license it. So sometimes when I'm working to kind of plan my composition, I'll just lower the opacity on something I'm testing out and place it to kind of see like if it will work, if the idea is there, or if it doesn't look good, then I'll change the idea altogether.
Sounds good. I saw a question here. Kevin is asking, what are some good books to buy today for Photoshop? I honestly don't read that many Photoshop books anymore, but I do have some good friends that write books and I do like their content. So I would recommend Glenn Dewis. I know he literally just published a book, I think this month. But Glenn Lewis is someone to check out, and also Colin Smith from Photoshop Cafe. I think he's written a total of 22 Photoshop books, and he's still writing. So those two people I would recommend.
Awesome.
Do you know any books, Anna, that you might want to recommend?
I used to use Photoshop books like in high school, and then I started to realize how quickly they went out of date. And it was like within one update, like something was completely different. So I just started using YouTube. And as I mentioned on my Instagram story, you were one of the people I like looked at a few years ago and learned from, and Aaron Nace and so many of the other like gurus of learning from everyone on YouTube. It's really like my go-to source. So nice. I can't recommend any books, but I recommend watching Jesus's YouTube channel.
Thank you. Also, big shout outs to Aaron Nace, who is a good friend. I just saw Aaron last week and we hung out. We were in Las Vegas for an event and hung out with him for 3 days. Really nice guy. If you guys don't know Aaron, check him out at Flern on YouTube and his website. Super awesome guy. And yeah, he moved to Mexico and he is fluent in Spanish now, so we're having conversations in Spanish. It was crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Cody Bear, for posting the link to my YouTube channel in the chat, and sorry for interrupting, Anna.
That's okay. I was just gonna say, this is another great feature of Photoshop that you can use, is syncing with your libraries from your stock. And so I haven't really done this that often, to be totally honest. I end up just like going over to stock, downloading something, and then dropping it into Photoshop. But we can try this right now to see how it will work, and just to see if this is going to be like an easy process, because I think it's a great way to speed up your workflow and to kind of like just constantly stay in Photoshop without having to leave the app. So I just saved that to my Adobe Live library. We're going to come over and see if this will update. I have like 3 Adobe Live, so.
You create one every time you come on?
No, actually, I just keep putting new stuff in the old folders.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we can make a new folder to try to keep it much easier. Let's see. Adobe Live 5. Who else names your files like that? Raise your hand if you're so bad.
And then like at some point, I remember it was a terrible habit, so please don't do this, but I would just like put in random characters because I just get so annoyed.
Yep. I know, me too. There it is. Let's see if it's gonna update. Did it save it in there?
It should be there in a moment. Carol said Walt Disney and his team used layers called cells way before Photoshop. That is true.
Called sales?
Cell.
Oh, cells.
C-E-L-L. Yeah,
cool.
cell. I'm just reading people's comments, and yeah, we have Steve starting with Photoshop 4, Stuart with version 2.5, Leah CS2 for years, but it was because the company she worked for was too cheap to upgrade, even though it was massively outdated. Photoshop 6 for Ryan, Axel version 5, Same for, oh, Ryan again. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like we have actually a lot of people that have been using Photoshop for a while now. A lot of people using Photoshop longer than I have, it seems like, here in the chat.
Yeah, that's so cool.
General Kenobi wrote, Aaron goes by Senor Aaron now. It's spelled with one A, R-O with the accent mark, and Aaron.
Wow. So I'm kind of having some issues with this. I'm not sure why it's not giving me the little cart icon to purchase this. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but I want to keep playing with this image. So we'll just go back. Oh, it's because I licensed it and I didn't even know it. Good.
There you go.
Good. I don't even know how that happened.
Question from Ahmed. Anna, what's your average hours for every design? So how long does a design usually take you?
It varies from design to design, obviously, but we were talking a little bit yesterday how the longest portion of the design process is planning it and finding the right assets and getting everything to kind of like lay out correctly. And you start to like add in a sky and it's not right, or add in this silhouette and it's not right. So that ends up taking me usually like 2 to 4 hours. And then, so I would say if I'm sitting down in my zone working on something, each piece maybe takes a total of like 5 hours. If something like this, it's pretty simple, it would probably take me like an hour or two. Because I kind of know what I want it to look like, how I'm gonna lay it out. And it's a simple composition, but sometimes like the octopus one that I showed yesterday, where it has like a house on an octopus leg coming out of the water and everything, that one took me a couple of days.
Cool. Yeah, the longest that I've taken on a project, I think it was, I don't even know how many hours, but I felt like I was working every hour of the day for the whole day for maybe 3 weeks. It was at the Adobe campaign I worked for, the Make a Masterpiece campaign, which ended up being, I don't know how many layers anymore, over 1,000 layers. And it was, 4 or 5 gigabytes, something like that.
Wow.
It's on my Behance if you guys want to check it out. But that thing took forever. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll have to check that out, because that's so true. And that's what's tough whenever someone asks that question, is you have things that like take a number of days that you work on, like for increments over a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that reminded me that I think it was a couple of years ago, I bought one of your courses on Creative Live, all about like compositing with a bunch of different pieces and your images and everything. It was
that, I'm sorry, you said it was one of mine?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what exactly the topic was, but I remember it taught me like how to blend my lighting better. And it was like a really great game-changing course.
Yeah, I just updated that for Creative Live. That was probably the compositing course I did for them. So yeah, and there's actually a new version just come out this year if you want to check it out. Yeah.
So would that automatically update on my account?
Probably not. I would assume not. I don't know how they do their things, but I still see that they're selling the old one, so I assume that they just have it as a different product. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just blending this path in. Let me know if you all think that this will be cool, if there's anything that you think we should do differently with it. And we're gonna see how it's gonna turn out.
Super cool.
So I tend to just kind of use a soft flow brush to start blending things. And then I end up sometimes like doing too much, where I'll take a lot of, like in this case, taking a lot of this road or this path out, and then slowly bring it back in as I start to get all my colors correct and everything looking the way I want it.
How did you
And
even get started with Photoshop? Like, how did you come across it, or did you have a friend who showed it to you? How did that beginning start for you?
I believe it was in my graphic design class in high school. I think that was my first introduction to Photoshop. My teacher, we called him Luca. His last name was he was Mr. Lucas Savage. What a name, right?
Wow.
And so everyone just called him Luca. And
Why not Savage?
I know Savage would have been perfect. But I actually emailed him last year, right before COVID happened. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that you were one of the main reasons that I got started on this career path from like such a young age, from like 7th grade. He was a fantastic teacher, sparked my interest in it. And then he let me do like an independent study with him and everything. And I loved it so much. And he was like the main reason. And so I asked him if I could come speak to his high school class and tell them about like getting started in graphic design. And so it was really cool. But then of course, COVID happened and I didn't get to go in. So I'm hoping that maybe I can do that eventually. But he was super appreciative and he's like, wow, you're making me feel old, because I was like, I'm 30 now, I'm married, like it's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Oh man.
Yeah. What about you? How did you first discover Photoshop?
Sort of what I was mentioning earlier, I was really big into drawing and comic books and that kind of stuff. And you know, I wasn't a very good drawer or anything. I was good enough, but not super good. So then a friend of mine's dad, who I guess was a graphic designer, not anymore, had a version of Photoshop. I think it was like version 5 or something in his computer. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then eventually, a few years later, I came across Photoshop 7, and that's when I started using it. I was out of high school by that point. I must have been in my freshman or sophomore year in college. So it took, I was a little older than you when I started.
Yeah. So cool.
But I'll tell you what, when I got into it, I got obsessed, and I went and bought a 30 to 34 hour course on Photoshop, excuse me, from Beek McKellen, who is amazing. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
No.
He has videos right now on LinkedIn Learning, and he knows the application inside out. It's incredible how much he knows. And I remember the first time I ever spoke at a conference, which was at a conference called Creative Pro in Minneapolis, and I had Beek McKellen on one side and Bert Monroy on the other, and we were doing like a speaker thing. And in this particular conference, they do something called a 3-minute max, where you have to show a tip in 3 minutes, and then the audience gets to vote on who has the best tip by a round of applause. Each speaker has an attendee. They're playing for an attendee. So if you win, the attendee wins a bunch of prizes. So me being, you know, like the cocky new guys, like, I'm going to win. And I came up with this crazy tip, and I got my butt kicked by both Bert and so I didn't win. But then the next year and the year after that, I won, because I was like, all right, I feel like I can take these guys now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first year, I was like, oh man, these guys really know their stuff. I can't mess around.
Wow. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, they're both fantastic. And you know, they're a little older now, and they don't put out as much content as they used to, but Beek's still putting out videos on LinkedIn Learning, and he's very good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so I'm just playing around here, and the more I'm playing, the more I'm kind of like, you know what? Actually, I kind of am digging the contrast of the original coloring versus what I started to do. I was kind of making everything all blue and like one tone, but now I'm actually feeling this a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a question in the chat. Can you clarify that Adobe Stock is not part of a Creative Cloud subscription, but a separate subscription entirely?
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. I believe it's a separate subscription entirely.
Yeah,
right?
It is a separate subscription entirely. And there are free assets, which, as you saw, Anna, I think you downloaded 1 or 2 today, Anna.
Yeah.
So you can get free assets, and there's some assets that are part of a subscription, yes. And you can check out the Adobe Stock website to see the specifics on pricing and what you can get for that. But feel free to use the free assets.
Yeah. So what do you all think? What color should the road be? We decided we think we're going to keep the mountains and the grass, or the sand dunes and the grass, to be kind of this orangey tone so that it has more contrast. But do we keep the road blue? Is it like a cosmic path leading up to these sand dunes, or do we blend it in and make it more of an orange color? Let us know in the chat.
Oh yeah, let us know in the chat. And I don't want to influence anybody, but I know what I want.
Yeah, I'm like not sure. I can't decide.
Let us know in the chat.
In the meantime, I'm going to just blend these edges out a little bit more.
Cody Bear is saying the blue road looks good. General Kenobi, blue road. Ahmed Ma, blue is better. Carol, love the blue road. So it looks like the blue road is winning.
Cool. And what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to go for well, you said cosmic pathway. Is that what you said? Something
about
yeah, so I like that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Because it's like, you know, we have this big star explosion happening. So it's kind of cool to have it all.
We have Evan McNaught in the chat. Is that someone related to you?
Yep, that's my brother.
Yay.
Hey, Evan. He said blue. So I always trust his creative opinion. We like always bounce ideas back and forth. And he's also an incredible artist and is really talented in Blender and shares all of his work on Behance.
Ooh, so everybody follow Anna's brother Evan on Behance. He's in the chat now.
So let's see. I think I'm going to blur it a little bit too, but I want to kind of start to get this blended out a little bit first. I think too, if I was going to spend a lot of time on this and really get into it, I would probably also clone out these little fence posts here and just make that like a nice clear blue path, which we could do. But I also want to make sure we have time for your piece too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about my piece.
It'd be like, and over to you. You're like, wait,
like, what?
What are we working on? You get a 2-for-1 today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a little Gaussian blur to this path.
Carol is saying that your brother has nice work on his Behance page. So make sure that you check out even Evan on Behance. He's in the chat now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna try to kind of get this blur to match a little bit to the original grass. And then because this is a smart object, we'll get our blur to come up right down here as a smart filter. And then we can just basically like layer mask out the areas that we don't want the blur. And you can also do this same effect with the, with the field blur. Where is it? Usually in Blur Gallery. Yeah. But I think I'm going to just keep this as it is right now. So let's see, click on the smart filter and we're going to make sure our flow is nice and low and then kind of paint back in this area where it would start to pick up a little bit more focus. It's kind of cool because the way the shadow is, it looks like it's like a bridge. You can see like the way the shadow was in the grass here, it almost looks like it's going over, I don't know, a little like riverbed or something.
Now, everybody can see that your work is very impressive, but knowing what I now know that you're using a trackpad is even more impressive.
Yep, just over here like this. So before I was kind of blending out this side edge, I am now kind of looking at it like, what if, because this is shadowed here and it looks like it's raised, what if it's kind of, you know, not blended into the grass as much as it's like a raised bridge road or something. And this is kind of like what starts to happen when I'm working is a lot of times someone asked earlier about like how I get ideas, and a lot of times the ideas will come just from working.
Yep. I mean, and sometimes it's ideas from what other people said. Like yesterday, you were talking about Sleepy Hollow, and I was like, I never seen it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do a composite on that today.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're tuning in again from yesterday, we are continuing that theme.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that bridge photo that you spent some time doing a cleanup on and making it look pretty, but I'm gonna take it the other way and do something more surreal.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be really fun. So let's go back into our hue and saturation and see if we can kind of, I mean, this is fun because we were all saying like the blue road and everything. But look at all of our options here. So many ways to kind of start to create surrealism in your work.
Yeah. You know what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anna.
I was just going to say, I still think I like the blue the best.
Yeah, so do I. Something that I do sometimes is, you know, like right now you have like the blue sky, then the orange, and then the blue and orange are complementary, of course. So if you have anything like that where you have complementary colors, sometimes I like to put the hue and saturation adjustment layer on top and then just scrub through the hue, because the results will always be complementary. So you might come up with a new color combination that you like better, and it's still complementary, if that makes any sense.
Someone suggested that the highlight in the road could use some golden brown. So just kind of touching that a little to see how that would look.
Yeah, Ahmed said, I think an unexpected mistake when you work are the best sometimes. And yes, sometimes you make, oh my God, what did Bob Ross say about mistakes? Like, there's no mistakes, there's only like happy accidents or something like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Only happy accidents.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then let's see. I'm gonna use another curves layer on this background image to kind of start to paint in a little bit more shadows and stuff. And I'm just bringing this down, adjusting the contrast a little bit, not too much actually. And then I'm gonna invert this, Command I, to make it all black, and then paint back in the areas that I want to have some shadows.
Nice.
Ooh, Carol said, put a glow under the road.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. So I'll do this and then I'll do the glow. And then we'll switch over to our Headless Horseman.
Nice.
Yeah, this is going to be a cosmic road. Okay. So let's see. What do I want to do with the road? Look at my messy layers. I better do some cleanup.
Do you usually name your layers, or
no,
like,
never.
Yeah.
I think there's two types of people in the world: those who name their layers and those who have absolutely nothing to do with naming their layers. What are you?
You know what? I have to practice what I preach, so I definitely name them.
That's good.
And I even color code them as well. I don't do it like for my tutorials or anything like that, but if it's like an actual client project or something like that, I definitely spend time making them look pretty.
Yeah, I would say for sure if it's like a client project, or if I'm going to be giving someone the Photoshop file, then I definitely name my layers. Like even when I've done the invite to edit function, everything's like named and organized. But whenever I'm just working for me, it's like layer 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even when it's just for me, I name them. And then for me, I get angry at myself. Like if I open up an old file and I'm like, what is this mess?
I know. I do definitely get angry at myself when I go back, especially when I see that I've merged things and that nothing makes sense. And all right, so we're gonna test out one of the ways that I make glow, and I'm going to pick out my foreground color here, and I'm gonna just kind of go in and use like a kind of tealish blue. We'll try that. And so we're gonna go to color dodge for our blending mode, and then we're gonna double click on the layer, and we are going to turn off transparency shapes layers. So you got to make sure that is always off whenever you're painting glow, because if you don't, it looks all weird. And then if we turn our flow up to 100, you can see we get like super crazy glow. But the key here is turning the flow really low and slowly building it, and that starts to give it more of the realistic look.
Fantastic.
Let's see. All right, we may need to just testing out where we're putting this.
Jay Stewart wrote, those who have creative directors name layers.
Those who what?
Have creative directors.
Oh yeah, yep, definitely. Okay, so this is giving me, sometimes when I do glow, it gives me a bit of a hassle depending on what else I've done to the layer. So let me just see here where this kind of muddiness is coming from. You can see it's not really like giving us a full glow effect, and it could be from the curves. Okay, so I think it's because we have a bunch of like stacking layers in this one area. So let me see.
Yeah, you always have to figure out, you know, layer stacking order matters. So you definitely have to figure out what's causing what when you can't really figure it out.
Yeah, because I think what's happening is we're getting a little bit of this road underneath, or sorry, the road layer on top picking up what's underneath from the grass layer. So I think let's try putting the glow layer on top of the road. So again, we're going to go to color dodge, double click, turn off that transparency shapes layers, click OK. There we go. And yeah, so that's much better because it was giving us that weird muddiness. So let's try that again. So we can either make it glow underneath the road, like, and slowly paint down here. That's one of the things, like when I create glow, you may have seen my tortoise. I can actually bring that up real quick. We go on Safari. Who uses Safari? I do.
I'm a Chrome person. You know what, Anna, like I really want to point something out. I know we kind of been joking a little bit about you using the trackpad, but something that I like that you're doing is that you're almost getting a Wacom tablet-like effect just by reducing the flow. And I think that's really important. A lot of people will say, oh, I don't have a tablet. And, you know, like I can't do that. Well, you can. You just kind of have to find these little hacks and adjust your workflow. And obviously a Wacom tablet might be more, you know, easier to a degree, but by changing settings and things like that, you can still create that effect of building up the brush stroke, which
yeah, exactly. And that's such a good point. I definitely, sometimes when I have like in-depth glow, that's when I'll use my iPad and use it as a tablet connected to my computer. And like, and that helps a lot with getting like those fine brush strokes, and obviously an actual Wacom tablet would be a lot more beneficial for me than using the trackpad. But yeah, like you said, using the flow and building up when you don't have the tools around, you can easily create that. Like here's an example where you can see I added all this glow in, and then I like painted it on her face. One of the best examples I think of the glow that I've done is, I mean, there's a lot. Like I painted this one, and I actually have a course all about how to create glow from scratch and painting it based on this image. So that's
where can we find that course?
So that is Anna McNaught, sorry, courses.annamcnaught.com.
Courses.annamcnaught.com.
Yes. Or if you just click the link in my bio on Instagram, it will come up on there as well.
Cool.
So all of this, the jellyfish weren't glowing, obviously. They were just like regular jellyfish. And I went in and painted them and then painted this kind of glow onto the bottle and the waves. And the one I wanted to show, which is kind of closer in resemblance to what we're trying to achieve on the road here, is this tortoise. And so all of this glow that you see, like the lighting kind of spilling over onto the ground, onto his feet, onto these little details. I don't know, I can't zoom in. Oh yeah, there we go. These little details in here was all just painted by hand in using this glow color dodge technique. And I think I may have done this whole tortoise on the trackpad. And so you can see here down in this area, we zoom out again, how the grass is kind of glowing a little bit. And that was exactly like the effect that I wanted to go for on this piece, and then to create this glowing road. But this is one of those pieces that takes hours and hours to do, especially when you're painting glow. So we're not going to do that, but we will just play around for a few minutes here and then move on.
Kevin said you have a great website.
Thank you. So we could really like make this road glow. Let's like if we wanted to kind of, and we could clip this. I'm not sure what I want to do today.
Have you ever done like an Adobe Live or presentation, and then like an hour later, you're like, oh, I should have done this.
Yeah,
like an idea would come up.
Totally. And it's funny because I like had the idea for this piece last night, and then as I kind of like am working on it now, I'm like, I don't know, I don't like that. I'm not sure if I want to do that. Like it's all based on a mood. So I'm just kind of like blending this out with my trackpad, getting it all to look good. And I would probably spend a lot more time working on this, but you can start to see that glowing look to the road. And then we could also just clip this down so that we're not getting it on any of the grass as well. So what do you all think? Like, is this coming together nicely? I can spend a little bit more time on it while we switch over to you, Jesus. What do you think?
Sure. Let's see. I don't think I was sharing my screen, but I think I am now. So are we switching over to me? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, let me know if Jacob, once my screen is up. I don't think it is yet.
No, not yet. Is it Jacob still here? We're all alone. We've lost production.
Yeah, well, I guess you can keep going, Anna.
Okay. All right. I'm going to play around with this a little more, see what we can get. So I want to turn this glow off for a second.
Oh, wait, it looks like Jake, he's saying he can switch now. He just texted me.
Oh.
It's so good.
There we go. Now
there we go. All right. So we're on my screen now, right?
Not.
Oh, one sec.
technical difficulties.
Cool, here we are. Thank you. Yeah, so this is the photo that Anna was working with yesterday, and I was working with as well to show. I already forgot what I showed, but while you were working on, I think you made a comment on Sleepy Hollow, and I mentioned that I hadn't seen the movies or read the books, but from what I understand, there's like a headless horseman. And I thought, oh, maybe that's the composite that I'll do tomorrow. So that's what I'll do today, and I hope you guys like it. So obviously this would look better if it were a night scene. And one of the things that you can do in Photoshop is do a sky replacement like we did yesterday. And if you go into edit sky replacement, you can import night skies. Anna, you showed how to do the get more skies earlier, so I'm not going to go through that, but there is a night sky pack, and I can just select one of these skies and see if it works for my scene. And I can click and drag and adjust it and see how how it fits the image. We'll start with this. I'll make it a little cooler, maybe darken it a bit, and I can increase the color adjustment, even though in this case I'm not too worried about the color adjustment because I'm going to do that manually anyway. But I think that this is good. Maybe I'll shift the edge in a little bit so that it's not so blurry, and I'll press OK, and I can keep working with it later. I just wanted to get this sky replacement group going, and then I can start adding layers on top of that. One of the ways of making a day image into night is by going into the adjustment layer icon and selecting color lookup. This will load up your 3D lookup tables, 3D LUTs. These are color grading files that are used in video, but Photoshop has them. And we can go into this one down here called night from day. And there you go.
Yes.
Notice that once you just add this layer, it doesn't really look like daytime. It just sort of looks like, well, a blue photo that's been desaturated. Once you add the sky replacement to that, it starts looking a little more like night. But what I like to do is below that color lookup adjustment layer, I like to add a hue and saturation adjustment layer and then desaturate the image until it starts looking a little bit better. And then below that, I like to add either a levels or curves adjustment layer. Doesn't really matter which one you add, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Beginners like to use levels more, or they're easier to understand. That's what I should say. They're easier to use. So maybe I can do that. I can click on this white point and drag it to the left so that there's no pure white pixels here. And then I can adjust the contrast and, try to get this to look, a little bit better. And just to stay organized, I'm just going to put all these adjustment layers into a group, and I can call it, something like night color. And there you go.
Much better than me.
Well, one of the reasons that I like being organized too is that when you right click if you have the move tool selected and you click over the canvas, you'll get a drop down with the list of layers. So if you wanted to select something like the foreground color layer here, or the foreground lighting, you can just click on it and Photoshop will automatically select that layer. So if you don't name your layers, then you really don't know what you're selecting. And notice that you have these groups. So the option here that does not have the indentation, that's the group, and everything that's indented, that's the layer. So being organized does help. So I can select the background and it selects it here, as you can see. Cool. So at this point, what I would do is probably come up here into the sky replacement group, add a hue and saturation adjustment layer, clip it to the layer below, and then maybe adjust the hue so that it matches the scene a little bit better. I don't think it quite matches the scene, so I can keep adjusting it until I get something that works. I think it might be cool if we add a moon into this. So let's see how we can do that. Let me bring up Adobe stock here, and there it is. And under free, make sure you select free. I'm just going to type in moon and see what they give us. There you go. We have quite a few moons. I can just probably get away with using maybe, well, this one's kind of cool because it gives me different options. So I'm just going to license this. It's free. And I'll just move this down for now. Oops, there we go. I'm gonna save this on the Adobe Live here with Anna, and I'll call this Moon. Well, actually, I don't even need to save the file because it's also going into my Creative Cloud library, so I'll probably just open it up from there. But here it is on my Creative Cloud library, so I can just drag this in here and scale it up. I'm gonna make it bigger than I need it. And just because I don't want that giant file, what I'm gonna do is maybe just make a selection out of like the moon, or you know what, even better, I don't need to do all that. I'm just going to use the quick selection tool, and I think it'll select it fairly quickly. And actually now let me try the object selection tool and see if that does a better job. So I'm going to click and drag around the moon, and yeah, the object selection tool did do a better job. And just to make sure that I get this dark area here, I'm going to expand the selection by going into select, modify, and expand, and I'll expand it like 5 pixels. And I think that would be good. And all I'm going to do is just press Control J on Windows, Command J on the Mac to put that into a new layer. And there it is. And I can worry about those black areas in a moment. I just sort of needed to get it into its own layer and figure out how I'm going to place it in my scene.
Super cool.
So maybe,
quick question. I see people talking about where this photo was taken, and it's actually from Woodstock, Vermont.
There you go.
So this is a great little photo spot for anyone who's interested.
Fantastic. Woodstock, Vermont. Cool. So I'm gonna click and drag this layer and place it under, let me see. If I place it here, it hides it. So it needs to go over the sky replacement here. And look at this. What I want this to do is to be part of the sky, not the foreground. So all I'm going to do is clip it to this layer, and it should hide it behind there. See that? Super cool. Look at that. It just goes right in the back. Super cool. I'll convert it into a smart object now so I can transform it non-destructively. I can make it smaller and bigger, and it'll be okay. So I can just figure out where I want it. And by the way, the reason that I'm putting it back here on this side is because there were some daylight shadows here. So there's definitely a light source on the left. So the moon will be my light source. And what I'm going to do now is hold Control on Windows, Command on the Mac, and click to load that as a selection. I'm going to add a layer mask. And you might be wondering, why are you adding a layer mask if it's already on its own, layer and there's no background? Well, there's this outer ring that I have there that I wanted to give myself enough room in case I needed it. But now I realize that I don't, but I still don't want to delete the pixels. So I can go into Filter, Other, and select Minimum. The minimum and maximum filters are filters that help you contract and expand masks, as you can see. So I can just contract this mask like so until I get rid of that black circle, and there we go. And in case I need to bring back some of that detail in the moon, it's there. I'm not really losing it. And now I get to add a glow. So I'm just going to double click to the side of the layer and add an outer glow, and I'll just increase the size, the opacity, and maybe the color. Maybe we need to make it more blue. And obviously I'm going quickly here. What I'm doing now is just setting up the layers, and I can always come back and fine tune them if need be. I can also do a color overlay, change the blending mode to color. So the color blending mode keeps the hue and saturation of the color that you select, but not the luminosity. The luminosity is from the layer below. So that's why I selected that. And I can just pick a blue that'll work for this scene. And again, I'm just setting it all up. I know it doesn't look perfect, but that's okay. That's my moon. And see, I can pretty much place it anywhere I want. And that's a great thing about using the Adobe Sensei, the artificial intelligence, for doing the sky replacement, because it created this mask for me. I didn't have to do any work. Like, the mask is there, and I can just drop the moon behind the building. I can place it anywhere I want. It's super, super cool, super, super easy. I'm also going to save this because I want to make sure that I don't lose the work. But here we go. And I'll call this layer moon, layer 1. I'll call it moon. That way we, we can have organization. By the way, here's a tip for you guys. For those of you that don't like naming layers, maybe this will help you get into the habit. When you're naming a layer, if you press the tab key on the keyboard, it switches over into the next layer and you can start giving it a name. See that? I'm pressing tab and it switches over, and then you can name them this way. So maybe you can just, once you have your layer stack in order, just give it a name, tab, move over to the next layer, tab, and so on and so forth,
That's a great pro tip.
Cool. And we were talking about color coding layers. If you wanted to do that, you can right click on a layer or group and give it a color. In this case, I'll give the sky replacement group a color. I'll make it blue. This night color, we can make it violet, and you can see that the layers inside have those colors as well. So it helps you stay organized. Cool. So let's bring in that headless horseman into the scene. Let me bring back Adobe stock, and I'll just type in horseback riding and see what we have. All right, guys, let's see what would be good.
Ooh, this is gonna be good. That one with the person riding it with like a clear background.
This one? Well, I kind of wanted something like in this angle, but maybe going the other way. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like going into the bridge.
It's like, yeah.
Maybe this lady. Let me see. I'm not going to spend too much time, but I do want to make sure that I scroll down far enough. So, oh, this one might be good. I'm going to license this one. See, because he's in that angle that I want.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect.
And I don't need to save this. It's going to the Creative Cloud. Yeah, I think that's the one I'll use. I'm sure that if I spend more time, I'll find other images. So one other thing that I want to do is maybe I'm not 100% happy with this moon, to be frank with you, but I guess I can keep fine tuning it a little bit. But if I do this, it's gonna do the whole sky, and I don't want to do that. All right, so what I'll do is this. This one's just for the moon. Usually I wouldn't do this, but here we are. Just for the sake of speed, I'm just gonna create a layer mask here, and then maybe bring that down a little bit. It was just a little bit brighter than I wanted it to be. And again, you can keep fine tuning this as much as you need, as much as you want, something like that. I think it might have been a little too bright earlier, but anyway, well, we can keep fine tuning it all day long. Let me now work on this person here. So I'm just going to drag that onto the image. I'm going to try to see if I can match the perspective. So you have to think about the ground plane where the subject is standing and where that ground plane meets the sky. So the horizon line is probably right about here. The horizon line in this scene is probably right about this area. So maybe something like that. We talked about the reference point yesterday. You can enable it by clicking on this checkbox, and I can just scale from that area to, have a somewhat matching perspective. I can right click and flip it horizontal so that it, the guy kind of looks like he's going into that bridge, like so. And keep scaling it. I'm holding the Alt key, that's the Option key on the Mac, as I'm scaling so that I scale from that reference point. So that's more or less where I want him. Again, I don't need this, that entire layer. So I'm just going to select this part here and then just press Control-Gen, Windows-Command-Gen, the Mac to put that into its own layer. And I'm just keeping my file size small. I don't need all that extra information. And I can convert this into a smart object if I want to, so I can keep scaling it, and I wouldn't lose any resolution, because if I go down and decide, I want to go back up, I still can with a smart object. But if I were to do the same thing with a regular pixel layer, I will introduce pixelation. But I know that my horse and my guy are not going to be much bigger than this. It's probably the biggest that I want. I'm actually make him a little smaller. He might look a little too big, but anyway. With this layer 1 selected, I can go into select and subject. This will use Adobe Sensei to analyze the image and make a selection around the main subject, which looks great. You can always press the Q key on the keyboard to enter the quick mask mode, and then you can analyze the image and paint with the brush tool with black to deselect areas. Anything that is in red is deselected, so I can just paint in red here to deselect those areas. I'll worry about the tail later. Maybe paint here. And obviously, oops, I don't want that. And obviously I'm going really fast here, so sorry about that. Just trying to get something that looks good in a short amount of time. And now that I don't want his head, right? Because he doesn't have a head. So I'm just gonna paint with black.
We need
here.
to put a pumpkin on it.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Okay. And then I can press Q again and click on the layer mask icon, and boom, there it is. He's got no head now.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And you know what? I'm not really liking his, I think he needs to be a bit smaller. So we'll make him a bit smaller, maybe move him here a little bit, something like that. And you know, we can keep fine tuning it forever, like I said, but that should look good for now. Pumpkin, right? Okay, let's go find the pumpkin on Adobe stock. Let's see. Except pumpkin, right? Pumpkin. Let's see. Hopefully they have a nice isolated pumpkin. We can. Oh, look at this. That's not the right angle. All right, we'll just make it work, even though it's not the right angle. Oh, here's the trick. Sometimes if you type in the word isolated, so pumpkin isolated, you're gonna get pumpkins that don't have a background. See that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it needs to have like an evil face on it.
Oh, then, but we can't see his face.
That's true. But maybe his head's backwards.
All right, let's do that. Any one of these look, pumpkin, we'll just say.
You could make I'm gonna look up what he looks evil. Like now.
Okay, here we go. We could probably use one of the, oh, this one's cool. This one's cool. I like this one. We're gonna make this one work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because then we can build some glow from.
Yeah. So his head is backwards. Awesome. Here it is.
Yeah, because I guess technically, I'm looking at pictures of him. Technically, he like will hold the pumpkin, and then it looks like he like throws it at people.
Oh, is that what he does?
I don't really remember much of the Headless Horseman, all other than the fact that he's scary.
This time I'm just going to rasterize it and apply the layer mask so that I lose all those other pixels so I can work faster and don't need to worry about them. So I know that's technically working destructively, but in this case, I know I'll never need that background. But notice that I gave myself enough wiggle room on the actual subject. And I did a select subject selection, but why don't we try the, I did a quick selection. Let's try the select subject method better and see if that gives us, yeah, much better. See that? It did a better job than I was doing it manually. Here's the mask. And I can put this here. Oh, here's another trick. You can click and drag layers if you want, or you can use the control key. That's the command key on the Mac. I'm using Windows. Windows is control, and then the bracket keys. And then that'll allow you to move the layers up and down the layer stack much faster than dragging. See that? See how it's just going down the layer stack? So let me just put that here, and I'll make this smaller. So now his head is on backwards. There it is. Arrgh. That looks cool.
People are saying in the chat that he holds his head, which I forgot.
Holds his head. All right.
But we don't have an arm here for
like
the right position.
Well, you know what? Let's make it. Give me an activity that someone will do where their arm would be in that position. Would it be like
throwing?
Let's see. Throwing. Let's see. I'm just gonna try to find an arm to. Ooh, this one might work. This one might work. Well, but the arm's face, it should be facing the other way.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for an arm. You know what? Maybe that, but he's not wearing a shirt. What would be a good position, chat? Let me know. What keyword can I type in here to get somebody throwing? You know what? Throwing, and I'm going to put in the word suit because he's kind of wearing a suit, kind of. I don't know. I don't even know what he's wearing, but let's see.
Someone said fencing.
Let's try fencing. All right. I just need an arm. I mean, and just in
Oh yeah, because then they have the outfit on though.
Yeah.
What about arm?
Ooh, I like the waitress waiter idea.
Oh yeah, like
good idea, who is that? Carolyn, thank you so much. Maybe that'll work because I'm just picturing somebody holding up a tray like from behind. See, like these would work, and if we had a different angle. See, like this would be perfect if she was looking away from us. So maybe waiter back or something. Ooh, I might be able to make that one work with enough photoshopping, but I don't know if we have time for that. Or maybe behind. So this is really the time-consuming part about compositing, you know?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna try to make that one work. I don't want to spend any more time looking for more images, so I might be able to make this one work. Maybe type in waitress, and maybe there's a female version of this where nope.
Let's see.
Maybe back throw or throwback. Oh, this one might, but this arm's kind of weird. I'm gonna have to make a decision here pretty soon, Anna.
It's always the hardest part. It takes me forever, and then if you get the wrong one, it throws off everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking in premium too. We have some hands from waiters, but let me look in.
All right. The next one that's semi good, I'll use. All right, I'm gonna pick this one. We're gonna have to Photoshop it.
Okay, this will be fun. We have some time.
Let's do it. We'll Photoshop it. Oops, I don't need to save it. All right, let's get that one in here. Oh wait, did I not license it? Let me license the image. Oh, I did it twice, of course. You just get rid of this one and get rid of this one. Yeah, this one might work. Why not? All right, so what I'm gonna do here is, this is gonna look horrible.
I'm like so excited to see how you're gonna do this.
All right, this is all I need really. Actually, let me think about this.
I wonder if you could do select subject now that you have it kind of isolated.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Good call. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. Selected. This might work. Let's hope that it does. All right, guys, we'll see if I can Photoshop this. Move the pivot point to the shoulder there and try to match the arm. Yeah, it's not gonna be, you know what? It's not gonna be terrible. It's not gonna be terrible, but it won't be perfect.
Yeah.
Puppet warp, and I'm just going to warp this arm like this. Actually, I need to pin more of these so they don't move, and I only move this part.
Yes. I feel like this could work. And luckily we have the kind of hiding factor of nighttime to.
Yeah. All right, so I can make this work.
Now he's waving.
Yeah, he's like, hello, everybody. Oh, but you know what? Now I ran into the problem of you know, like I want this, I probably should put it on this side, but Yeah, I need to put it on this side. Oh man, I can't believe I did all that work. Yeah, because then I would have to Photoshop the horse. You know what I mean? Screw it. We already we already came this far. All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. It should have been in the other arm. I wasn't paying attention because I was more worried about how I was gonna Photoshop it. But here we go. I'm just gonna try to get the shape of the horse in there, and then we're just gonna make that into a shadow. And then here I can add another layer, clip it to the layer below, and then I can clone snap my way out of this, I hope. There we go. So since in the dark, I don't need to have, you know, something perfect. I can just get away with doing this. There we go. It's gonna be in the dark, so that's all we need. Cool. And then we have that arm there, and now I gotta match the arm to the rest of the person. Again, since he's in the dark, we will be able to get away with it, I think. There we go. It doesn't look too bad. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Is it looking terrible? I don't think it's looking that bad. And I'm using a levels adjustment layer to adjust the brightness and a hue and saturation adjustment layer to adjust the saturation. And then I can, you know, try to get something that matches more or less. You know, it's not going to be a perfect match, but I think we can get away with it. What do you guys think? Cool. Oh, it looks like Anna is having some tech issues. Hopefully Anna can come back soon. But I'll keep working on this while Anna tries to get back. So, you know, this is the idea, getting this pumpkin guy. So I gotta call this layer arm. So, you know, practice what I preach, name my layers. This is the pumpkin. Yeah, Anna was eaten by the Headless Horseman. What happened, Anna? I hope you can come back. There you go. There you go. He's holding it. Cool. So now that I have all of this here, I can put all of this into a group. Control G on Windows, Command G on the Mac. Oops, I wanted to include everything, not just that. So let me make sure I get everything. So from the pumpkin all the way up to here. And there we go. What I can do now is add a, let's see how we're going to do this. We can start by doing the same technique we did earlier, the color lookup adjustment layer, clip that to the group, which is the Horseman. And I can do the night from day once again. And I can add same thing, hue and saturation adjustment layer, bring down the saturation, and then a levels adjustment layer. I like to keep my luminosity below the hue, and I can just add contrast, something like that. And also what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a curves adjustment layer and just make everything super, super dark, like so, with barely any detail, like that. And then with this layer mask active, I can press Control I on Windows, Command I on the Mac. And yeah, Anna's on the other side of the bridge. She's still in the picture. She's right here. Anna's right there. There she is. With this black layer mask, I can now come in here, and why not? I'm not Anna. I can't use the trackpad, so I'm going to use my Wacom tablet, and I can just paint in with the brush tool using white, black on, or white rather, so that I can darken up these areas. See that? So now I can come in here and add some shape into this horse, like so. Cool. and obviously, you know, spend more time doing that. And, you know, I have a light source coming in. Let me add my blank layer there and then move it up the layer stack. So control right bracket key to move it up in the layer stack to the very top right here. And remember, there's a light source coming in here, which is the moon here. So I can come in here and paint with white here, the rim light. And, you know, I'm going super fast, obviously, but I want to get a nice rim light going here. I hope you can come back, Anna. We miss you. Carol is saying, run into the light, Anna. And yeah, obviously you want to spend a lot more time doing rim lighting and all that good stuff here. You know, the light's coming from this side. So then this is where you would see all that light coming in, you know. And we need to work on the pumpkin as well. You know, we have some rim light here on the horse too. Something like that. I mean, you can imagine if I spent a couple hours getting all this right, this will look much, much better. But, you know, we don't have that kind of time on the stream right now, especially now that my...
Can you hear me?
Hey, Anna, welcome back.
My power went out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were having like tornado warnings last night, and I think it might be related to that.
Oh, no. Well, I'm glad you're back, and I hope everything's okay.
I think everything's okay. I'm just trying to connect my video now.
Okay, cool.
Oh, whoops.
Cool. So that's the rim light on my Headless Horseman there. And you know what? I don't like it this color. So maybe, I don't know, I could change it to a different color. I'll add, I don't know, a color overlay and, you know, maybe do a normal or something and then see what works.
I missed so much. I'm so sad.
We're still here. No worries. Yeah, so that you know, something like that. And I can even do another layer and kind of do what Anna was doing with the like that really strong highlight. So like, for example, here maybe, let me, yeah, here we go. So in some areas I may want stronger highlights, so I can go and do the whole transparency shapes layers trick with color dodge, something like that. And you know what? I don't like that there. So here's a trick. When you hold down the tilde key, you can erase. I'm going to erase a little bit, and I can now build on the you know, the color here, just so that there's stronger highlights in some areas, not everywhere. Maybe stronger highlights here, something like that.
Ooh.
You know, and then maybe in this part, we can make the glow like a different color. Let's start with, I don't know, we'll see. What do you guys think? Maybe like a yellow. And change the blending mode to color. It's more like an orange. It should be more like an orange glow, but you know, we'll change that in a moment. So we'll change it by going into image, adjustment, hue and saturation, and we can shift the hue to like an orangey color.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
I'm cracking up at the chat saying that I got attacked by the Headless Horseman because they're saying that I'm still in this image, which is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, this is where you are. You're in there.
I got abducted into the Headless Horseman image matrix.
Definitely. All right. We can spend all day working on the lighting, and I don't like it, so I'll just spend a few more moments. I'll colorize it this time, and something like that. There we go. That's gonna be good enough for this. So you know, we can keep working on that, and You know, if we have this light source here, then, you know, maybe we would also have, I don't know, light source in the ground somewhere, like maybe right around here, who knows? So
Yeah.
maybe underneath the horse, I can create a new layer and then just do like one of those, you know, things you were doing earlier, Anna, again with the color dodge.
Yeah. So for the highlight on his body and like the rim light and stuff, sorry, since I missed it, were you just painting it like with a normal brush, or
Yeah.
did you have a blend mode on?
No, just normal brush.
Okay, cool.
That's all it was. Nothing fancy, you know. And now I'm trying to get this light coming there from the pumpkin, bring down the opacity, or the fill rather in this case, you know, just so there's something there.
Yeah.
And I'm not liking the color, so image, adjustment, hue and saturation. I'll colorize it and, you know, maybe add some orange or something in there, see if we can make it work. And if not, like it's not working here, and that's okay. What I can do is try maybe adjusting the lightness, bringing it down a little bit, and that should make it work. And, you know, we're not gonna be able to get it super perfect, especially because we're running out of time, but I think you get the idea. And something that I'll do now is, if you notice, there's these shadows here on the bridge. I need to match that so that everything looks, you know, cohesive and it's part of the same scene, but I have all these layers. So what I can do is select this one and hold shift and click on this one, and now it's all in one group. There you go. And what I'm going to do is just press Control J on Windows, Command J on the Mac to duplicate that group, and then press Control E on the one on top. So now I just have one single layer. If you press the question mark, the / key, you'll lock the transparent pixels. See that? See how I'm locking that transparent pixels? That means that I can just fill with anything, in this case black, and I'll just make everything black that was a different color, and I can tap on the question mark again to unlock transparent pixels. And now I can transform this, and I'll do distort and then just bring this down like so, and try to match the angle as best as I can on this horse. And it's not perfect, but you know, you get the idea.
Yeah.
There it is. And actually, you know what? I want to have the same look as this over here, so maybe I can use that same color. So I'll select the eyedropper tool, click on this. Once again, lock the transparent pixels. You can use the keyboard shortcut or tap on this icon, and I'll fill with the foreground color. Alt backspace on Windows, Option Delete on the Mac. And I can go into the multiply blending mode and then bring this down until it, you know, matches more or less what's already on the in the scene. That looks pretty close. If you want to, you could come in here and then use something like liquify or something like that to make sure that the shadow goes over the edges, but I'm not going to worry about that in this stream. And there's our our headless horseman. The sky is a little too bright. I'm not liking that. So now I can go into the sky, which is right in this group. And yeah, I'm just going to create a curves. Oops, I created an exposure adjustment layer by accident. I'll create a curves adjustment layer here. Why not? And maybe darken that sky up a little bit. And these stars are a little too bright, so maybe I'll bring this down and, you know, just fine tune it until you get something that you like. I'm not liking the glow, but again, I would go in there and adjust it more. You know what? The moon is very sharp compared to the sky, so maybe I would blur it a little bit. So,
oh yeah,
you know, these are all the little details that you have to start fixing once you have your composite, you know, pretty much laid out. And, you know, I can bring down the sharpness there by blurring it. I think the glow is too much now, so maybe bring down the glow a little bit. And the color overlay, I'm not sure if I'm liking it, you know, so maybe I can add another color overlay, and this one could be like a darker color, and this one could be normal, and I can just, you know, sort of like darken it, whatever you think works for you. Of course, I can always add another layer on top of that and then just make the center brighter, like so. maybe change that to like overlay or something and see if that works, or soft light, or whatever you think you might need. Maybe even that same technique, the color dodge technique with the transparency shapes layer, and then just reduce the opacity so that the center is a little bit more bright. But anyway, you know, as you said earlier, Anna, it's all about playing around and getting things right.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm seeing this, if this would also give another light source going back this way, so then there should be another shadow back here of the horse, because the head here is a light source. So I would need to fix that. And actually, I kind of want to see more of his face. It shouldn't be so dark. So remember earlier when I said name your layers? Well, thankfully I named this layer pumpkin. So if I right click with the move tool selected, I should see a layer called pumpkin. There it is. And
good.
One of these is making that pumpkin really dark. I just don't know which layer. The hue and saturation might be one that I'm gonna, okay, cool. So these two. So now I can come in here and paint with black on these layers to bring more of that pumpkin out, and this one as well. There we go. Look at that.
Looking good.
Well, there we go. We have our pumpkin right there. Yeah. I mean, there's so much more that we need to do in this composite here. I'm still not happy with the moon. You know, I would need to make other adjustments so that it looks the way that I want it to. I still don't think it's blurry enough. I think it might be a little too big, you know, so I do need to make some changes, but I don't know if we have time, Anna. I know we have to do a review for
yeah, it's time for the artist spotlight. We want to make sure we have a little bit of time for that. So do you have it up on your end?
If you give me a moment, I will bring it up, and here it is.
Great.
Diane Kemp, I believe, is the artist that we're featuring today.
Yes.
Awesome. So you can see my screen, right, Anna?
Yep. So
cool. Yeah, please go ahead, Anna.
I was just going to say, looks like she's a photographer, designer, digital illustrator. So we might have like a mix of some different mediums in here, which is really cool.
Yeah, a bunch of cool stuff. We can see some, it looks like this is some photography work on some sailing. Super cool. Super
Diane,
cool.
are you in the chat today? Let us know if you are here.
Yeah, let us know if you're in the chat. Cool. And we have this money illustration. Super cool. Oh, this is really good textures here and graphics. I would assume that this was made in Photoshop, but it looks super cool. Let's see if she, yeah, Photoshop is one of those. Photoshop and Lightroom. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's so great.
It looks really cool. Fantastic. I love how, you know, clearly this was a photo with a bunch of filters and things like that on top of it, and it looks great.
I know, I always love seeing things like that, and sometimes I wonder like if people decided to just challenge themselves, or if it was from the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, or how it came about. And I think it's cool when people try new things like that.
Yeah, yep, I completely agree. Cool. We got more photography. Anything in here that you want to see in particular, Anna?
Let's see. Scroll down a little. I think my computer's being a little glitchy, so I'm getting like a bit of a delay, but
no worries. Why don't we look at another graphical one? Let's see.
Okay.
Cool. So we're gonna, Major Tom. Oh God, I love that song.
Oh, that's so cool.
Super cool. I'm wondering, I need to fix the eyes and the face in this illustration, but I figure I would share a work in progress. I love the guy in the helmet. Super cool. There's a guy in the helmet. Yeah.
That's such a cool illustration. And I've been reading a lot about like finding your own personal artistic style. And I think what I love about this is that she clearly has an artistic style that is uniquely hers. And I think that's such a special thing when you find it, because it's difficult.
Right. And I'm wondering if she just drew this or traced an image, which both are fine, but I'm just wondering. When it looks like this was her style for a little bit, these filters. Cool, pretty cool. Using filters. Let's see. It looks like she's into sailing and things like that.
Yeah.
Cool. This is obviously some of her photography work using Lightroom and Photoshop. You know, for all we know, these guys are not real.
I know, seriously. Now we can be fooled.
Yep.
Those guys are pretty spectacular. That's awesome. That looks really fun.
Nice.
I wonder where this is.
Super cool cell. I don't know. Does anyone recognize the area? I don't know. Pretty cool. Newport Harbor. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that is?
I don't. I was like, I feel like there's so many. Oh, she's from Milford, Massachusetts. So it must be in Massachusetts.
There we go. Let us know in the chat if you know where that is.
I was going to say, yeah, I know like Newport, California, but then I was like, no, there's a ton of Newports all over.
Right. Oh yeah, Newport. Okay, so clearly Newport. I just don't know which Newport.
I always love that effect. I remember doing that a lot in high school with like the filters and kind of like playing around with the painted look.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, Diane, thank you for your submission. You have fantastic work. Keep it up. And you can see the progression of her work as we move up higher on her page. We can see that the photos are more dynamic and much, much nicer filters. So love to see the progress.
Great work. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. Should we move on to you, Anna? Do you have anything else you want to show, or do you want me to continue?
I think if you can continue, that'd be great. I'm worried about whatever is happening over here with my computer and this power.
No worries at all. So one of the great things about working with layers and separating everything is if you don't like something, you can move it. And in this case, I'm not really liking this, the way that I have this set up. And yeah. Oh, is it not working? Oh.
I thought that was me.
Let me switch over to a different mic. Sorry for the technical issues, everybody.
I really think we opened up a cursed door here by working on the Headless Horseman. I think that was probably a bad idea.
I'm gonna switch to a different mic. And let me know if that sounds better for you guys. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna, yeah, you know, you never know. Okay, great. So instead of showing something else in Photoshop, I think you guys get the idea. I was just going to continue adding different elements and then maybe moving this to a different layer. And I just want to show one last thing. So in this case, I have 3 layers that all control this moon. Something that you can do is click on this little chain link icon. That way, whenever I had those 3 layers selected and then clicked on the chain link icon. That way I can just move all those elements accordingly in case I don't like the positioning of what that is. And to be frank with you, this photo is way too tall, so I probably would crop it just to get a much better composition, something like that. I still don't like the positioning of the moon, but I think that you get the idea. Maybe put it here somewhere, I'm not sure. But yeah, that is the Headless Horseman. Thank you so much for joining us during these past few days. Anna, I don't know if you want to share your social media. I can do it on my screen if you like.
Yeah, that would be great. I feel like this turned
Cool.
out really good, even though you're not like totally finished with it or 100% sold on it. But I think it really came together nicely with the arm and the horse and the pumpkin. It's cool to see how you can quickly make something that turns into this really fun composite.
Definitely. So here we go. This is Anna's Instagram, Anna McNaught. Make sure that you follow her. We have links to Anna's Leave the Map page, and you're also on TikTok, so follow Anna on TikTok.
Yes.
Super, super cool. Also, I just published a YouTube video yesterday on sky replacement. So if you want to check out my new video, make sure that you head over to my YouTube channel, the Photoshop training channel. And that is the video right here on how to download those high quality photos for sky replacement. So that's on my YouTube channel, the Photoshop training channel. The video is only a couple minutes, maybe. Yeah, not even a minute and a half. So make sure that you check it out. So Photoshop training channel. And
did you make that yesterday or did you already have it?
You did?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's why it's a minute and a half.
So good. That's awesome.
Thank you. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, JR from PTC is the Instagram account. So make sure that you check me out there.
Give him a follow. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. It's been such a pleasure.
Awesome, everybody. Thank you so much. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Cody Bear, Rick, Carol, Steve, everybody who's always helping out. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Take care.